Alright, thanks for getting here with me today, YouTube. I needed a few days to digest what was all said at the press conference the other day, and now that it's been thoroughly digested, I will now discuss a couple of points that I've found. One, the way the suspect walks. There are many reasons, aside of a leg injury, that the suspect may walk in a warbly wide pattern. The bridge only has railroad ties, and on some of them they're further apart than others, so you must always be looking down at your footing. On average, it takes a person skilled in walking across that bridge 8 minutes to cross. Now, I feel strongly to the fact that the suspect that day was drunk and or drinking at the commission of this crime. For these reasons, he was certainly drunk at the traffic stop.
Missouri State Highway Patrol then captured dash cam footage with the man who would soon become a murder suspect.
I am a citizen. You work for me. Okay. All right? Do you understand that? I don't work for you. Yes, you do. I pay your taxes,
He was also 2 doors down from the Catholic supply store at a nightclub prior to his sexual assault and homicide at the Catholic supply store. My suspect drinks. He then hates upon females, and may kill them if they do not comply with his demands. So my reasons for his unstable walk is the bridge ties combined with his drunkenness. Secondly, is the item once thought of as a fanny pack, or brown shirt hanging down from the right-hand side of his body. I have given this item a lot of thought over the last couple years. In one photo, it does look like a fanny pack, but in a different photo, it looks more like a flat cloth from an undershirt. But I looked further into this after seeing the video of the suspect walking. Now I can see a better shape to it, and can perhaps discern what it is now. After the arrest in St. Louis of my suspect, he had handguns. He had filed that he owned handguns when filing bankruptcy in 2012. He had a Glock 43, a Sig Sauer, and a .22 caliber pistol. Now, always assuming that he had a handgun from the very start, I looked for a brown leather holster that fit these weapons, being the Glock and the Sig Sauer. It says 6-hour handgun. But being that there is no such thing as a 6-hour handgun, I realized his lawyer had misheard what he had said on the phone and wrote down 6-hour handgun when he had actually said Sig Sauer handgun. I found these holsters right here. They look very comparable to what you are seeing on his leg right there. Almost extremely comparable. Now, I'm assuming that he had that jacket on so that he could pull it down over that holster, where a person couldn't see it if he was just walking. But he had it there, and he had a pistol in it. I want to point out that when you watch him walk, the brown item will flop back down to his leg. It's not like the fabric of a undershirt. In some spots, you can see silver in the areas that I had pointed out were darker in color than the rest of it on the holster. Now then, we come to the sketch. I cannot understand how it being only 2 people that seen him there that day, and neither can make a determination whether the man was 18 or 40. Are we to believe anything that they may say about this guy's face, if they cannot tell if he is 18 or 40 and had spoke with him? The FBI spent over 3 months getting the details for the first sketch, but now we are to assume that the FBI messed up? Really? So now they issue us a different looking sketch altogether, making him look young, and for some reason he doesn't have a hat on. He just has hair, and no one's seen his hair that day. He had a hat on. So honestly, right here on the new sketch, I am calling complete and utter. I heard said that they used DNA to get the new sketch. I doubt that, but let's say it's true. I would hereby like to compare the new sketch to a younger picture of my suspect. Looks pretty good, eh? And now, it so seems that law enforcement now believe that he either lived in Delphi, was from Delphi, or worked in Delphi. I so remember being where they are now. I made a whole video speaking about it. I started that video off by saying only if the suspect had no vehicle, then he must have walked into Delphi on the trail, reaching the railroad tracks and taking them into the residential area of Delphi. Now, I seriously doubt that that's where law enforcement is now, but let's say it is. they're 7 months behind. But to me, that all changed once I found my suspect. Then I knew he drove there that day. And now I know where he parked and why he parked there. He parked right here. He parked here because he already knew what he was going to do that day. He knew he was going to kill, and he did not want his vehicle seen close up by anybody that would have been parking at the main parking area at the trail. He didn't park at the main parking area, and that's where Cheyenne and Flannel Shirt Guy had parked. They would have seen his vehicle type, but they did not, and I always pointed that out. There was two people that if he parked right there at the main parking area, they would have seen his vehicle. It would have been mentioned. I'm not sure at all who said to law enforcement that there was a vehicle parked that day. But if it was parked there from 12 to 5, a lot of people would have seen that vehicle. They could have gave a color, a make or model perhaps, but they must not have because law enforcement was extremely vague concerning that vehicle. I also find some reason to have suspicion concerning this vehicle, whereas the vehicle was parked there that long. Why wouldn't the suspect drive away after he killed the girls? Why would he stay parked there till 5 when he should have left at 3 p.m., which I've always assumed? My guess is now this. The suspect arrived at sometime near noon on February 13, 2017, looking for an opportunity and found it. Once that crime had been committed, he left and left quickly. But for me to assume that he was parked there till 5, I'm not on that train any. Again, I heard stated that the vehicle was a white truck, which is odd to me concerning the fact that the Evansdale, Iowa vehicle that the suspect used was a older white Bronco type vehicle. When Flannel Shirt Guy seen him leaving, he was gone. He drove out of there. He drove out of there at roughly 3 p.m. that day. We only have the traffic stop video to see my suspect walking. And he only walks backwards in the video, but it's the only comparison I have of my suspect drunk walking in comparison to the Delphi suspect walking. Here it is.
I am a citizen. You work for me. Okay. All right? Do you understand that? I don't work for you. Yes, you do. I pay your taxes, and you do not work for me. Step back. Well, then you step back. All right, you're going to stand right there, and I'm going to stand right here. Where do you want to stand? Right here. There.
Right here.
Now, the new audio they gave us, it only has a word or two added, which is higher pitch and covered with radio static. What was the use in that? To give us a different sounding pitch? I don't get that. But the down the hill part, that right there is totally my suspect. Right there. That's him saying it. Period. Maybe that's why they added the other piece, so that people wouldn't make that comparison. But you know what? There it is. It's my suspect speaking. He's the one saying down the hill. I shall end this. If the suspect was from here around Delphi at any time, he would have been caught almost immediately. Look, as of right now, there has been over 40,000 tips turned in. 40,000 tips turned in. And Delphi has a population of 3,500 people. 3,500 people. 40,000 tips. And now more are going to flow in because now everybody and their brothers are going to say, oh, I know that guy. Yeah, no doubt they're going to be calling. I know how this works. I've seen it now for over 2 years. I would hate to think that I'm sitting here with a computer and have better investigatory skills than the local state of Indiana and the FBI. But it must be true. Where in the last 2 years and 2 months, I have solved Delphi and Evansdale, while they're 7 months behind me saying that the suspect must be from around Delphi. I don't know what to make of that. I really don't. I think that is playing the public for reasons that I don't understand. I thought that law enforcement wanted this solved. I did. I thought that they, I didn't think they were playing around, but now I have reason to believe that something is amiss in law enforcement. I really do. Law enforcement is hiding this from you for reasons unbeknown to me, but you know what? I'm going to go find out. And when I do find out, I'm going to tell you all about it. This has been Michael J. Catt, the very next sheriff of Carroll County, Indiana. Peace.